How do you get from where you are now to where you ideally want to go? Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Say that you are currently 100 pounds overweight. How do you get from that to I am enjoying life in my body that I love? Well, there's a lot of talk about affirmations, and you can say them until the cows come home. But here's the thing, if your subconscious mind thinks that it's total crap, whatever the affirmation is, it ain't getting in. It's not getting in there. And it creates this dissonance that your subconscious mind knows is a lie. So I would love to introduce to you the concept of a bridge statement. So, what do I mean by a bridge statement? So, here's where you are, and here's where you're going. The bridge statement simply connects the two in a way that's not threatening to your subconscious mind. So, if you want to go from being 100 pounds overweight to enjoying your life at your ideal weight, what is a statement that you could wrap your head around that doesn't cause your body to go to tense up and say, hell no, that's a total crock of crap. So how about something like, I am making healthy eating and lifestyle choices that support me in reaching my ideal weight. So it's something, it's like a bite-sized piece of your goal. Instead of, going, say you're an entrepreneur and you made $10,000 in your business last year, and your goal is to be a millionaire or a seven-figure CEO. Well, going from $10,000 to $1 million in one leap, it is so scary to the subconscious mind, and it doesn't seem possible for most of us. Even if we see other people that have done it, we always wonder, right? Would that work for me? Am I like that person? Or would I get the same results that I've always gotten? So I love this concept of a bridge statement. And I want to play around with a couple of them. And I also want to share some stories from my life that are, I don't know, they're funny to me now. So hopefully you'll find some humor in them. So let me give you an example. When I started diving into spiritual work, there are all these principles that I'm like, yeah, that makes total sense. It resonates as truth to my body, to my soul. It just feels true to me. And I don't use that word lightly because I don't like that word, but I tried to assume that as my identity just because it sounded good. And I really, really wanted to be that. So here's an example. My brother or sister is innocent, which means that everybody is doing the very best they can. And I'm seeing them through the eyes of the creator. I'm not seeing them as lacking anything. I'm not seeing them as able to harm me or victimize me or hurt me in any way. I am seeing them as doing the very best they can and seeing myself also as a creator. So these are some concepts. They're pretty high level when you're just starting out. And so I would try to embody this. And not only that, I would talk the talk, but I could not back it up. Like I didn't have it. I didn't walk the walk. Because the second that I would judge somebody, I was like, oh man, I'm a piece of crap. I'm back the way I was. I haven't changed at all. And I think many of us are guilty of that, like the black or white thinking, the all or nothing. Like, yes, I believe this. It sounds good. But if I can't live it perfectly the second that I believe it, then there's something wrong with me, or I might as well give up, or there's no hope for me. So what I have found is being really intentional with my language and setting intentions like, yes, I am working toward becoming, say, a seven-figure CEO. I'm working toward that. Am I that right now? No, I'm not. What are the steps in between? What is the next step that I could wrap my head around that doesn't scare me to the point where I'm going to be paralyzed? Because that is a very real thing for many of us. If our autonomic nervous system gets triggered, we can easily go into fight, flight, or freeze. And for me, when it comes to business, it was often freeze. So I got to create these bridge statements. And one of my coaches calls it the ladder of believability, which is another way of approaching it. So let's say my best month of my business was $5,000. Could I create a month that's $6,000? Yeah. Could I create one that's $20,000? Maybe, but that's a really big gap, right? That's like 400% more. So what I'm suggesting is play. Play with these baby steps. Wrap your head around them. Instead of just going straight into the affirmations of what you want, ideally someday, what do you want this week? What do you want today? What would make today a successful day for you? That's something that you could commit to. And commitment's a whole other thing that we could talk about. But when you actually declare something, there's something that happens in the universe and in your subconscious mind. So the first thing that happens is the universe is like, okay, got it. Let me bring it to you. And then the subconscious mind comes in and is like, okay, got it. I will bring into your awareness, I'm going to filter out everything that isn't that. And I'm going to filter in, I'm going to allow it to get into your consciousness, everything that could bring you to that goal. That's why it is so important to declare things, to say what you want in the positive, in the present tense, or even in the past tense, like, thank you for bringing me this new client, as if it's already done. Now, if you go and you have one client and you say, thank you for bringing me my 10 clients, just pay attention. What does it bring up in your body? So if fear comes in at all, you know you've gone too big. And then you just simply dial it down. Like, what's the biggest number that you can say out loud or in your head that doesn't create a contraction in your body, a tensing up, a getting smaller, a fear response? And you can grow exponentially that way when you take it one step at a time, one small step at a time. And, I laugh about the spiritual stuff because I really, really wanted to be this spiritual, enlightened being. And I was scared of almost everything. And I didn't realize, but I would employ tactics like manipulate to get what I thought I needed instead of knowing, the truths that I have everything I need within. My safety comes from my relationship with God, things like that. If you have those spiritual principles that you believe in and that really resonate as truth, I think it's a great idea to make a list of them, because my daughter will say to you, you're such a good forgetter, Mom. I'm like, thank you. But that is the human condition. I believe that we came into this life and on the way to incarnating, we forgot everything. We forgot the truth of who we were, and we got to relearn it all or remember it all. So when I am acting in a way that's not in accordance with my true beliefs and my values, I have simply forgotten the truth of who I am. And all I get to do is remind myself. And if I have that list handy, I can look at it and it's like, oh my gosh, I am as I was created. I love that one. It is impossible to be other than how you were created. Think about it. God does not create crap, and God does not create anything unlike herself. God doesn't do that. We do that as human beings. We think we know better. So when you go back to those truths that are true always, I am precious, I am perfect, I am love, I am loving, I am lovable forever. I am loved, like all those. Then what else matters? I believe that our only mission on this planet is to be the love of God and to express that to other people in whatever way is unique to us. And our unique expression of that love is our mission, right? It's what we're here for. And when we run from it, life gets so uncomfortable. And then for me, at least, I got deeper and deeper into this identity that didn't fit. And I became more and more miserable the further I got from that truth. And I believe we are all divine expressions. We are all here to share our light with the world. And it looks different for everybody. Like, I have a friend and she's been posting her paintings and they are absolutely gorgeous. And that's her divine expression. I have other friends that are fabulous writers. One that writes these poems that I'm like, oh my gosh, where did that come from? Another one that's a musician. And when she sings, I get goosebumps. I mean, she is expressing God through her. And other friends that can speak, they can just talk. Other friends that, I have one friend who's the best hugger in the world. And when I hug her, it is indeed like hugging the divine. It's like nothing I've ever experienced. So I invite you to really get quiet and to sit with that. Like, what are you here to express? How is it that the divine expresses through you? What is your unique expression of divine love? And if you aren't being that, how can you bridge the gap? What's one step you can take in order to get from hiding, or, I mean, I don't know that you're doing that, but if you're hiding or holding back at all, any type of your expression, whether it be your voice, your art, your singing, your music. I have a friend who just posted, he's like, how do I get into flow? He's like, I've always loved playing music. And he posted on Instagram and Facebook him playing piano, and he messed up and he's like, so what? I'm posting it. This is what's coming through me and I'm having fun. And he was like, well, even when it was off, he's like, and then he just kept going and whatever. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to have fun and to play and to express love. There's something I want to say about expressing love too. So the other day I went to a hot yoga class and then I went to Costco to get gas. And I was sweaty and disgusting, but my heart was wide open. When I was in Savasana in the yoga class, I kept thinking about my heart and about opening in it and about everybody in that class feeling that expression of my love and feeling their own worthiness, their own wholeness, their own beauty, their own power. And I was just radiating that love. And it is often my intention consciously to radiate divine love so that people can feel it, so they can remember that they are love, they are that. And the other stuff, don't sweat the small stuff. That stuff is illusion. It's just meant to distract you from who you are and what you're here to do. So when you can feel that divine love being like surrounding you, there comes a moment of truth, like, oh yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right. I remember who I am. I remember why I'm here. So I went to get gas at Costco. And I don't know if you know this, but they employ degreed people that have degrees in fuel, or I don't know what it is. I don't know, whatever it is, petroleum. They employ these people that have degrees. And this guy comes up to me. He's like, he worked there. He's like, oh my gosh, I can just feel your love radiating off of you. I mean, this is a guy that's at work at a gas station, and I'm a complete stranger. And he felt it, and he felt it enough to say something about it. And I was blown away by that. Like, and think about that is how powerful we are. We can affect people everywhere across the planet with a single loving thought. We can also affect people with an unloving thought. So what do you choose? Who are you choosing to be? And we get to monitor our thoughts. So back a long time ago when I first started doing affirmations, I would do however many in the morning, and then I'd go about my day, and the talk inside my head was a lot of self beat up. And now when I catch those things, I'm like, oh, interesting. I was believing that I was unworthy. And then I go through this process where I either question it, like, is that really true? Could that possibly be true? That God could create me to be the only piece of crap on this earth? Really, think about it. If one of your friends or your children came to you and said, I really believe that there's something wrong with me, that I'm unworthy, that I'm unlovable. Would you say, yeah, you're right? And, you're the only one that's like that. Like, no. And I'm sure you wouldn't believe that. But what do you talk, or how do you talk to yourself about yourself? What kinds of things are you saying to yourself, either out loud or in your head? How do you treat yourself when you make a mistake? How do you treat yourself when you fall short of that ideal that you set for yourself? I mean, I was guilty of that for so long. I would set these really high standards and I would never, ever reach them, or at least rarely. And then I would have a reason. I would justify beating the crap out of myself because I didn't hit the mark, that therefore I wasn't lovable or I wasn't good enough. There's my proof. So what are you seeking proof for? I love that question. So what if you were seeking proof that you are good enough? You would find evidence, I promise. What if you were seeking evidence or proof that you make a difference? Well, could you create that? If that was what you were looking for, could you create that? Of course you could. There are a zillion ways you could do it. You could just send love to a stranger and watch their face light up. You could pick up the phone and call somebody, whoever comes to your mind. You could think a loving thought about somebody who maybe isn't that easy to love. You could practice Ho'oponopono. That's a really beautiful practice that I've known about it for a long time, and I've recently become reacquainted with it. And it's a Hawaiian prayer of forgiveness. The story is super cool. I don't know if you've heard it, but there was a psychiatrist in Hawaii that was assigned to this mental institution. And they ended up, I'll go to the end. After he did what he did, they got to close the institution because nobody needed it anymore. And these were, I believe, criminally insane people. They had done some pretty gnarly things. He never saw a single patient, like one-on-one or through Zoom. This was a long time ago. There was no Zoom. He never sat with a patient one-on-one. What he did was he read their files and he came up with a bunch of judgments, right? Like you would, like, okay, this person murdered his family or whatever. And then he looked at their pictures and he said this prayer: I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And he said it over and over. And who he was really forgiving was himself for his projections, for his judgments. When he said this over and over, as he was looking at the picture of each one of these inmates, and his heart softened and he really felt no judgment anymore, they would heal. And this is such a beautiful practice. If you are going through a divorce, or there's somebody that has harmed you, in your opinion, or that you have harmed, I highly recommend try this process. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Try it and let me know how it goes. So, bridging the gap. I believe there's a lot of self-forgiveness that gets to take place in order to go from where you are to where you want to be. It's forgiving yourself for your limiting beliefs. It's forgiving your projections, your judgments about other people who have done it, your judgments about yourself for not doing it yet or being there yet. I invite you to come up with some, like maybe 5 targets that you have in your life. What are 5 things that you'd like to accomplish or be in the next 12 months? And when you look at those, where are you now? Where are you going? And what is a bridge statement in between? And then start saying those bridge statements. And it could be something like, I am willing I'm willing to see myself differently. If you go from like, I can't stand myself to I love myself, something in between would be like, I am willing to be compassionate with myself. I'm willing to see other possibilities. You know, it could be whatever comes to you is perfect, right? You get to trust yourself. So I hope this supports you. And if you've tried affirmations in the past and they didn't work, I believe this is a key missing step. I would love to know what really stood out to you in this episode. And if you would drop me a comment, I would so appreciate it. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe. And if you want to know more about me, you can find me on Karen Seltz, my name.com. Not Karen Seltz, my name, just KarenSeltz.com. Thank you so much for watching Irresistible You, Ignite Your Passion and Purpose. My name is Karen Seltz, and I'm so grateful that you tuned in. Thank you for watching. Mwah!